Today, I invite you to walk with me, not just into a classroom and not just into a lesson, but into a story. A story about language, power, courage, and one man who used English like a lantern in the dark. A man whose voice shaped a nation, whose words cut through doubt, whose sentences carried storms and calm in equal measure. Today, we learn English with Raila Amolo Odinga. As a teacher of English, I've taught grammar, vocabulary, composition, reading, but never have I ever seen anyone use language the way Raila Odinga used to. Raila was not just a leader, he was not just a freedom fighter, he was not just a symbol of democracy. Raila Odinga was the greatest English teacher Kenya never officially had. And so today we celebrate the teacher behind the leader. And so, chapter 1, the power of clarity. Let me begin with this. Raila never spoke to confuse. He spoke to illuminate. He spoke to simplify. He spoke to reach the heart. And then the mind. In English, clarity is everything. And Raila Amolo Odinga mastered it. When he said something, you understood it. From the first line all the way to the last breath. He knew that difficult words do not make a person intelligent. Clear words do make a meaning or a message unforgettable. And so lesson 1, be clear, be intentional, be understood. And that is the Raila doctrine of English. Chapter 2, vocabulary with purpose. Vocabulary with purpose. Raila's vocabulary was rich, not just in complexity, but in purpose. He used words that carried a lot of weight. Words like unequivocal, leaving no doubt, audacity, bold courage, resolute, firm, unshaken, tenacity, a persistent strength, integrity, moral correctness, and resilience, the power to rise again. He did not choose these words to impress you. He chose them to instruct you, to strengthen you, to awaken something inside of you. And so lesson 2, use vocabulary that builds your message, not vocabulary that buries it. This is something I teach my students every other day and something that Raila Amolo Odinga lived every single day. Chapter 3, the music of speech. Every time Raila spoke, whether calmly or passionately, there was music in his voice. A rise, a fall, a pause, a punch. This is called cadence, the rhythm of what we call language. He understood that English is not just grammar. English is sound. English is performance. English is breath, timing, texture, emotion. That Raila understood so well. Listen to this pattern. We have come a long way. We have struggled. We have sacrificed. But the journey continues. That in English is what we call rhythm. That is poetry. That is mastery. And so lesson 3, speak English like a message, not like a paragraph. Chapter 4, the power of metaphors. Raila Amolo Odinga loved imagery. He loved turning ideas into real pictures because he knew something profound. People do not remember paragraphs. They don't. People remember the pictures you paint in their minds. He could say something like, the wheels of justice may turn slowly, but they turn. He could say something like, you cannot stop an idea whose time has finally come. They could say, the river of freedom may be delayed, but it cannot be dammed forever. These are not just statements Raila Amolo Odinga used to make. These are lessons in literature, lessons in imagery, lessons in expression. And so, lesson 4, use English that paints the mind, not just English that strains the brain. Chapter 5 is courage in language. Raila's language was fearless, even when he stood alone, even when the cost was heavy, even when silence would have been safer. He taught us without even a single classroom that English is not just a subject. No, it's a weapon, a shield. English is a torch. The courage in his words remains a classroom for generations and generations to come. And so, lesson 5, use language not only to speak, but to stand. Chapter 6, a signature line, an English masterpiece. One of Raila's unforgettable lines was this: freedom is never given, it is won. A perfect English lesson. Parallel structure, antithesis, contrast, brevity, truth. We could call it power. In that one sentence, you can teach English for one full term. You can teach writing. You can teach rhetoric. You can teach about character. And that is why I say Raila was not just a leader. No. He, Raila Amolo Odinga, was a teacher. Chapter 7, why I, as a teacher, call him the greatest. Because Raila taught us that language is not decoration. Language is direction. Language is destiny. He taught us that you do not need a chalkboard to educate a nation. You do not need a classroom to shape a generation. You do not need a textbook to be able to inspire the world. All you need is truth delivered with courage, wrapped in clarity, and spoken with purpose. And so that is why I teach English the way I do. That is why I use stories. That is why I use emotion. That is why I create even these videos. Because I have learned from one of the best, Raila Amolo Odinga, the teacher without a classroom. He taught without a chalkboard. He led without a pen. His classroom was the nation. His students were his men. He shaped our speech with courage. He carved our words with grace. He left behind a language no time can ever erase. In wisdom, he was steady. In truth, he found release. Raila Amolo Odinga, may your noble soul rest in peace. And so if this lesson has been able to move you, if it has taught you, if it has reminded you why language matters, then I invite you, follow my channel, subscribe to Knowledge Quest Lighthouse, be able to even share this message. Let someone else learn. Let someone else be inspired. Let someone else discover the power of English through the life of one man called Raila Amolo Odinga. And so let us continue learning with courage, with depth, with purpose, just like he, the great, was able to teach us. This has been Learning English with Raila Amolo Odinga. Thank you for watching. Let the lesson and the spirit of one great man called Raila Amolo Odinga live on, because there are people that die, some live on. Rest in peace, Baba Raila Amolo Odinga.